From clown to executive coach could be a book. But that's exactly what happened from a professional clown to the coach I am now. And I want to tell you the story because it's really important for people that want to know me or want to know why I did this coaching, to understand that has been a whole journey of like 30 years, more than 30 years, for me to be this coach that I am now. And it starts like really after my studies as a teacher. So I was a teacher, and which was a good job in Belgium, where I'm from. Pays fairly well. You have a lot of holidays. I mean, it's a good job. And at some point I literally told my parents, I want to be a clown. And just like now, a silence fell. I was from this little town in Belgium. I mean, being a clown was something you saw on TV or maybe in a circus. But there was no way in the world that somebody out of my world where I was living in then had some kind of understanding what it meant to be a clown, let alone making a living out of it. So that's what I was facing. And so I began my journey, knowing nothing about clowning, knowing nothing about this world, have to learn everything. And that process took me for 10 years. It took me 10 years to make a living out of it. And it took me another like 5 years to make a good living out of it. But it was a good living because I made like 140K a year as a professional clown. So I did prove my point to all the people in my surroundings that were laughing at me when I told them I was going to do this. And it took me 15 years. But these 15 years were worth it. Especially the years when I worked as a hospital clown. I did that for like 10 years even. But especially the last years I was doing, or I was visiting sick children that were about to die. They had literally 2-3 weeks to live, 2-3 days to live. And those years gave me so much insight in being human, in life. I think the last 2 or 3 years gave me insight for 50 years. And I'm not kidding there. It was a fabulous time. Not so much at the time itself, because at that time I just did my thing and I wasn't really thinking about it. But afterwards, in 2012, I wrote a book about it, how you could use these things, this attitude that you needed to have as a hospital clown, to use it in your life, in your business, whatsoever. So, in 2015, I had the feeling that I was like running around in circles. There were no challenges anymore. As a clown, in fact, I did it all. I worked for 5 children, 3,000 children. I had a world-class act that nobody in the world did but me, with balloons. And so there I was. Didn't know what to do with my life. Didn't have a purpose anymore. And slowly but surely, I began to have interest in coaching through my book, mainly. And I started off as a life coach, which is really general, and yeah, I helped some people with that. But it wasn't my thing. I felt that there was more into it, and I didn't get the right people. And so I moved to career coaching, which was a good move because I did some jumps in my career from teacher to clown, from clowning to I did a little bit stuff in HR. So I always went for my passion, and I think as a career coach, it's really important you help people following their passion. So that was a good way to go. And then I felt that I was really good at working with high achievers, working with highly driven people. And then it struck me. Oh my God, it struck me. Holy F, it struck me. I was, or I am, a highly driven person. I am a highly driven achiever. And I have been putting that down all my life. I remember I played basketball, and I thought I was in it for the game. Winning wasn't that important. Oh, was I so wrong? And that was why I didn't get to the level I wanted to be. I ignored it. And again, I did it with my clowning. Because at the moment I hit the highest level, I quit. And until this day, I still think that if I would have had a coach back then, somebody or a mentor, somebody would have helped me through this period, I would have maintained that high level. I would have gone even higher in this business. And then, so then it hit me. It struck me. These were the pitfalls of highly achievers. And the number one pitfall for me is that I felt guilty when I was doing nothing. I was working all the time. I was working 7 out of 7 days, 24/7. I mean, I was working literally all the time. If I wasn't performing, I was making a new show. If I wasn't making a new show, I was like cleaning my material. I don't know. I was working all the time. Another thing that I didn't do was ask for help. That's another pitfall, right? I did it all by myself. That's also why I didn't reach higher than I was. I felt I had reached the ceiling with my world-class act, but that could have been only the beginning. And I didn't see it back then. So, in a way, I was afraid of my own success. And that, again, is a pitfall of highly achievers, high-performing people. Another thing is that I wanted perfection. I remember when we had a show, I even went and put the chairs that were in the room. I would put them right. I would align them. Then at one point we were with two actors, and my colleague said, "Are you out of your mind? Leave the chairs." I mean, it was that bad. I was so searching for perfection. And the biggest thing is that I couldn't handle the truth. When people told me something or gave me feedback, I couldn't cope with it. So that were the main things. So if you recognize this in yourself, then you truly are a high achiever. And then I can assure you that the level you are now is not your highest level. It's only the beginning. So it's only natural that I took the path of an executive coach, that I took the path of a highly performance coach, because I feel good with high performance people. I can help them because I went through it. You know, if you can make 140K, which I did in my top years as a clown, just as a clown, that means something. I mean, and that was like 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago. That was a lot of money. It still is. And I'm talking about euros here, not dollars. Don't get me wrong, it's not about the money, but it indicates the thing that I was doing back then. It indicates the value that I had as a clown. So, because I made all these mistakes in the beginning to get to the level of a real good clown, I needed to make these mistakes, and everybody needs to make mistakes if you want to grow. I now see that now the mistakes are good, but at that period, if I had the insight that I have now, I would have gone sky high with my business. And it stopped me because missing of that insight. And that's exactly what I do as a coach. I'm giving my coaches the insight they need. And that little insight can mean that they change their world, that they double, triple, 10x their revenue, etc., etc. It's all about insight. And I already knew this when I wrote my book. It's all about insights. A little insight can give you exponential growth. But you don't see it yourself. I didn't. So I assume, no, I'm not assuming, I'm sure that the people I work for, they don't see it. And that's where I come in. And I do this by telling you the blunt truth about what you are doing, what you are achieving, etc. And a lot of people can't handle the truth. But the ones who can, they will grow exponentially. They will break the glass ceiling and they will go sky high. That's what I'm doing as an executive coach. That's my why. Because I know that if I would have had a coach so many years ago, I would have broken the glass and I would have gone sky high. But I'm doing it now. Because maybe it seems a little bit odd, but I work with coaches too now. Because now I understand that you don't see your own blind spots. Only someone else can point you to it. And then it's up to you to accept it and to work with it. But if you do, I can guarantee an exponential result. That's it. That's my why. That's why I love coaching. See you soon.